All right. So December 5th, we're at National Repeal Day. Good old Franklin D. Roosevelt was like, we want a drink and you can have your drinks. And this was great, but it's called a National Repeal Day because that's what happened nationally. Now in April, he actually did a beer and wine release on the Prohibition, allowing certain states, and the states got to decide if they wanted to do this or not, decide if they want to start producing beer and wine again. So this isn't going to exclude liquor, but this is beer and wine specifically. So this is 8 months before the National Repeal Day happened. And so you've got good old Coors in Colorado that was like, we're going to be one of the first states to do the Prohibition. And we're like, heck yeah, we're going to be one of the first states that jumps out of it as well. Right? So in April, they have 125 workers working around the clock. Jobs were really scarce. And they really needed to have extra jobs going on. So this was fantastic for the economy. Locomotives drove in 750,000 empty bottles in 1 week to the Coors facility. And then 1 minute past midnight on Friday, April 7th, a special train pulling 21 refrigerated cars, probably made by Anheuser-Busch, chugged out of the Coors Brewery with more than 18,000 cases of Coors beer, destined for 30 cities around the state. Right? They couldn't go out of state. This was just in Colorado alone. At the same time, there was 70 fully loaded delivery trucks drove out of the brewery gates, and a special patrol by the good old Jefferson County actually met them and stationed along the route to keep the roads clear and to keep them safe from getting attacked. So, the minute they could, they were like, heck yeah, let's start getting some beer to our people. They crushed it out. So they started brewing in March. And then April 7th, they were like, get this beer out to the people that want some beer. You gotta love that. That would have been tough. How do you get that many people organized quickly enough to pump out that amount of beer? And something that, is so specific. That in the facilities are huge. I know they weren't then what they are now, but that's a wild concept to bring that many people in and get them organized well enough. Kudos to them. I can't even hardly get 8 people ready for dinner. I don't even know how they managed to pull it off. All right, so Colorado was all over. We're gonna get you some beer right away. We started brewing in March. You can get it out the doors in April. New York was not one of those states that did that. They waited until December 5th. And we talked before about West End Brewing. They were all over this new rule. And so the president of the brewery sent out a letter to all of the distributors in the area. And the letter said, you may have your trucks here at our premise midnight, December 5th, and you can receive all the beer you desire at 12:05 a.m. on December 6th. Truly yours, Fred Matt. And 90 years later, the beer that they threw out is still brewed today. And they have the sign posted at the brewery of the letter that he gave to all the distributors, and they just loaded up trucks and they cranked those trucks out. Super cool. What a fun story to see that sign. And imagine that night before, just all these trucks coming in and just loading up with beer to give the world the beer back that they've been wanting for 13 years. Our final story is going to hit in the Washington, Seattle, Tacoma area. The owner of Rainer Brewing Company is rumored to have bribed the city councils with free beer post-Prohibition to rename which was then Mount Tacoma. They name it Mount Rainier. Now this is an urban legend. This is not a true story, but it is funny because the advertisings were everywhere, and he had such a big control and he had such a dominating force in the area at the time that they were he bribed him with beer to rename this whole mountain. Again, not a true story. It's an urban myth, but he did buy a baseball team and he did end up naming them Seattle Rainiers. So he still got it pretty good. Maybe not a full mountain, but not everyone's happy with that mountain name change. But it is what it is. It did not come from the brewery. He did not bribe them. All right, that's it, folks. We know that surviving the Prohibition was not an easy feat. And breweries had to be really creative, and they had to get really unique solutions out there, from ice to ice cream. to cold beds, to frozen eggs. Like there was a lot of stuff that had to happen for these guys to survive. And it really shows not only like their determination as business owners to strive through and continue surviving on something like that, and then get right back into brewing once they were able to. Unless you were as lucky as Coors that, the ceramics just kept going and booming, and that's like a whole other thing to have to juggle and handle. It's incredible. And then to have the National Repeal Day happen, and everyone was so excited to have beer again, it just shows the testament in the determination of these breweries and these owners to stay alive and to get back into doing what they love and keep pumping out the beers that people love. I know we talked about a lot of the bigger name breweries, but it was hard for the smaller ones to survive. But again, like, give them some credit. This is tough stuff. Like, it is not easy to do, to start up that many businesses and keep it going. Anyways, if you like these unique stories, hopefully I hit on a couple that you haven't really found out in the World Wide Web as much. And even more, I hope that some of you bartenders out here are listening and heard some fun facts to be able to take to work with you tomorrow and share it with some of your guests, because I know that was my favorite part. That's the part I miss about bartending regularly, is going in and having like a beer release and having some fun weird fact about that exact beer and sharing it with the guests. And that was just like what we all talked about all night. Like, I miss that so much. It was so much fun. And so I hope you guys can take something from this. And if you think this is interesting and this is helpful, it helps you master your craft as an entertainer behind the bar, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and keep tuning in. We're going to keep getting more and more videos out for you. We're also doing a podcast. A lot of my attention's been there, but I'm getting back in line. We're getting organized enough with the podcast. We're starting to pump out more of these videos and more shorts for you to take in every single day. Have a fun fact a day, take into work. I promise your customers are going to love it, and you're going to have so much fun telling them about it. It's going to be a great time. Anyways, thank you for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Can't wait to read your comments below.